Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about something that I feel like nobody is really talking about, and that is our hands. Because you can do the most beautiful makeup, right? You can have gorgeous skin, and then you look down and your hands look like a completely different person lives inside them. Dry, thin, the veins are showing, the spots are showing, and I feel like we deserve better than that. So today I'm going to walk you through my exact routine for hands, what I actually do, what actually works, and some things you probably already have at home. Are you ready? Let's get this beauty started. So I have to tell you, I almost didn't do this video today because I looked down at my own hands this morning and I thought, Diana, who are you to be making a hand video right now? I mean, my hands are dry, I've been traveling, the weather has been doing whatever it's doing, and I felt very called out by my own hands, okay? But then I thought, you know what? That is exactly why I should be doing this video, because I'm not going to sit here with perfect hands and tell you what to do. I'm going to sit here with real hands and figure it out with you. Okay, so let's just talk about what is actually happening to our hands as we age, because I think understanding it, even just a little, makes the whole routine make more sense, right? So the skin on our hands is thin. It was always thinner than the skin on our face, actually. And as we get into our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, what have you, it just gets thinner. The fat underneath starts to go. The collagen production slows way down. And so you get that crepey look, that loose, papery feeling, and the veins and the tendons start to show through more. And I know that can feel really alarming when you first notice it. I remember looking at my hands one day and thinking, wait, when did that happen? But it's completely normal and there is so much we can do. So the first thing I do, and this is something I've been doing for years now, is exfoliation. And I know people think exfoliation is just a face thing, but your hands need it just as much, maybe more. Because we wash our hands constantly, right? We're in and out of water all day, and that strips everything. So I use a simple sugar scrub. And I mean simple. You can make this at home. It's basically just sugar and olive oil, and I mix it right in a little jar in my bathroom. I think I saw something like this years ago, and it stuck. A tablespoon of sugar, a little drizzle of olive oil, a squeeze of lemon if you have it, and you just work it into your hands in circular motions for about a minute. Really get in between the fingers, around the knuckles, the back of the hand, and then you rinse it off and your hands they feel like a different situation entirely. Now the lemon, I want to say something about the lemon because if you have any cuts or broken skin, skip it. It will sting. Not a big deal, just skip it that day, okay? And if your skin is very sensitive, you can do this just once a week. I do it about twice a week, and that works for me. You know, I did a whole video on DIY skincare ingredients that actually work. Go check that out. There's a lot more in there. So after exfoliation, and here's where I get very particular, I go in immediately with moisture while my hands are still slightly damp, because that is when your skin is most ready to drink it in. I've been using, oh gosh, I've had this for a while now. This is the La Roche-Posay Lipicar Balm, and I find it for mature, dry skin. It's doing something. It's thick, but it absorbs. It doesn't just sit on top, and I feel like my hands look plumper after I use it, more hydrated. I think I first found this when I was looking for something for my mom, actually. Her hands were so dry, such thin skin, and she kept saying, everything I tried just feels greasy, and this one she liked. So it has the mom stamp of approval, which means a lot to me. And if you don't want to spend the money on that, and you absolutely don't have to, plain petroleum jelly works. I know, it sounds very unglamorous, but there's a reason it's been around forever. You put it on at night, put on a pair of cotton gloves if you have them, go to sleep, wake up, and your hands feel transformed. That is not an exaggeration. It's maybe $4. You do not need to spend a fortune on this. Okay, so now I want to get into what I think is the most important part of this whole video, and that is the age spot situation because I feel like the dryness and the thinning, we kind of know about those things, we hear about them, but the spots are the thing that I see on so many women in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and nobody is really giving them a straight answer about what to actually do at home. So let's talk about it. Now, first, and I want to say this clearly, age spots are not dangerous. They're not a problem. They are just melanin. Your skin has been in the sun, it has been living, and it is showing you its history. I actually find that kind of beautiful when I think about it that way, but I also completely understand wanting them to look less prominent, wanting your hands to look more even, more rested. So here's what I actually do. The ingredient you want is vitamin C. And I know everybody talks about vitamin C for the face, right? But we never talk about putting it on our hands. And I don't know why, because it works the same way. It interrupts the melanin production cycle. It brightens. It helps with that uneven tone. And it has antioxidant properties, so it's also helping with the overall texture situation. Now, and this is important, you can be as generous as you want with this. You don't need to be precise. If you have shaky hands in the morning, if your grip isn't what it used to be, this is not a step where any of that matters. You're just massaging it in. That's it. So what I do, I'm going to show you exactly. I take my vitamin C serum, I pump a little into my palm, and I'm going to just work it into the back of my hand, circular motions, and I'm really focusing on the areas where I see the most discoloration. For me, it's here, across the knuckles, and actually right here on this side of my hand. I see this a lot on mature women. The spots tend to cluster on the back of the hand and the fingers more than the palm, and I work it in until it's absorbed. It takes maybe 30 seconds. Not a big to-do. Now here's what I want to say about the vitamin C serum specifically. You do not need an expensive one. I have tried very expensive ones, and I have tried drugstore ones, and I don't know, I feel like for the hands especially, a simple L'Oreal vitamin C serum is doing the same job. It's around $15, $18. And if you want to go even more budget, and I love this, you can actually just use a lemon, a fresh lemon. You cut it, you rub it directly on the spots, you let it sit for 10 minutes, you rinse. That is vitamin C in its most natural form, and it has been used for this for generations. Now don't do this if you're going to be in the sun right after, okay? Because lemon on skin plus sun is not a good combination. Do it at night. And don't do it on broken skin. We talked about that already. The next thing, and this is the one I feel like people really underestimate, is SPF on your hands every single day. I know we don't think about it. We put sunscreen on our face, sometimes our neck if we remember, and then we forget our hands completely. And our hands are in the sun constantly. Every time we're driving, every time we're outside, every time we're just sitting by a window, the sun doesn't care that you're indoors. So I keep a little SPF right next to my hand cream, and after I moisturize, I put a little on the back of both hands and I rub it in. It takes 10 seconds. And over time, over weeks and months, you will notice the spots are not getting darker, and the new ones are not forming as quickly. That is real, that is not a gimmick, that is just sun protection doing what it does. And don't worry if you forget some days. I forget some days. It's not a perfect system. You just do it when you remember, and over time the habit builds. Okay? You don't have to be perfect about it. Okay, so now let's talk about the overnight piece, because I feel like the nighttime routine for hands is where you really get to do the heavy lifting. And it is so simple. So simple. I almost feel silly saying how simple it is, but here we are. So after everything during the day, the vitamin C, the SPF, the moisturizer, at night I do a different thing. At night I go in with a retinol. Now I know retinol sounds scary. I know some of you have tried it on your face and had a reaction and you're thinking, Diana, absolutely not. And I hear you. But here is what I want you to know. The skin on your hands is I think it tolerates retinol a little better than the face in some ways. It's used to more. It's been through more. And you don't need a strong one. I use a very gentle, low percentage retinol. I think it's around 0.1%. Honestly, it might even be lower. And I just smooth it across the back of my hands before bed. That's it. If your skin gets dry or a little flaky at first, don't panic. That is the retinol doing its job. Just back off to every other night. Not a big deal. And then on top of that, right on top, I seal it in with my petroleum jelly, or honestly, sometimes I use a thick shea butter. I have this shea butter that I bought. I think I bought it at a little market, and it came in this very plain brown jar, and I cannot for the life of me remember where it was. I've been trying to track it down, actually. It smells like nothing, and it is just pure, thick, and my hands in the morning after using it are just a different story. If you find a plain, unrefined shea butter somewhere, grab it. It'll be cheap and it'll last you forever. Now, I want to say something about nails quickly because we're talking about hands and I feel like we have to. Because your nails are part of the picture, right? And as we age, our nails can get more brittle, more ridged, slower growing. And the thing that I think makes the biggest difference, besides keeping them moisturized, which the hand cream is already doing, is keeping them filed, even if they're short, even if you don't paint them. A well-filed nail on a mature hand just looks so much more put together. My mom, she's in her 70s, and she keeps her nails very short, barely any length at all, but she files them every Sunday and they always look neat. And I think that matters. It's a small thing, but I think it matters. Oh, and speaking of my mom, she called me the other night and she was telling me about this hand mask she saw at the drugstore, and I completely lost track of time on the phone with her. We ended up talking for 2 hours about nothing, about her garden, about a neighbor she doesn't like, about a sweater she found at a thrift store, and I thought, you know what? This is the good stuff. This is what life actually is. I don't even remember what we said about the hand mask. So to finish up the hands, and this is optional, completely optional, I love a hand mask once a week. You can buy them. They're these little glove-shaped sheet masks, and they're usually very inexpensive, like $3 or $4 a pair. Or you can make your own with just honey and olive oil, wrap your hands in plastic wrap, leave it on for 20 minutes. Both work. Both make your hands feel incredibly soft after, and there is something just very self-care about sitting there with your hands wrapped up for 20 minutes. I put on something to watch, usually something I would never admit to watching, and I just sit there and let my hands soak. So ladies, there you have it, my exact routine for hands. The exfoliation, the vitamin C, the SPF every single day, the overnight retinol and moisture seal, the weekly mask. None of it expensive, none of it complicated. All of it's something you can start tonight with things you probably already have. And I just want to say something before I go. Our hands have done so much. They have held babies and stirred pots and driven through the night and built things and planted things and signed things that mattered. And somewhere along the way, we stopped looking at them with any kindness. So I want you to start. Not because anyone is watching, not because your hands need to look a certain way, but because you deserve that 20 minutes with the honey mask and the show you would never admit to watching. You deserve to take care of yourself, all of yourself, right down to your fingertips. And until my next video, I'll see you later.